Midday News on 3FM and 92.7. My name is Beatrice Adu. The news is also live on Kesmi 107.1 FM and across the world at 3news.com. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Death toll from the fire incident on the Nsawam Adu Highway increases to 6 as the National Fire Service releases preliminary investigations into possible cause of the explosion. Also on the program, Ghana's bid to prosecute Russian man over secret videos may face legal hurdle. We'll tell you why. And much later on the program, coalition of unpaid teachers in Northern Region embark on a demonstration to demand payment of outstanding salaries. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. Now, the death toll from the fire incident on the Nsawam Adu Highway has increased to 6. Preliminary investigations by the Eastern Regional Command of the Ghana National Fire Service indicate that the explosion was triggered when some residents allegedly attempted to force open the tanker involved in the accident. We'll be speaking very shortly. Okay, we do have on the line Yvonne Nikwe, who is our Eastern Regional Correspondent. Yvonne, if you can tell us more about the circumstances leading to the explosion.
Well, the fire service has its preliminary investigations indicated that on Saturday early dawn, a tanker capsized on the Nsawam Adu Highway. And as much as the residents were making efforts to call their men to reach the scene, some residents decided to go and forcefully open the tanker to siphon fuel. Unfortunately, there was some friction, and so a fire incident occurred, leading to 3 people who died on the spot. As I speak to you Monday, between Saturday, Sunday, and today, I've lost 6 people from the incident. He's been cautioning residents to avoid getting closer to such vehicles when they do have accidents, because exactly 2 weeks ago, 200 meters from these things, an accident of such sort occurred, and quite a lot of residents went closer to the tanker to siphon fuel. In that particular case, we didn't see any of casualties or incidents happening. Unfortunately, for this particular case, we're seeing casualties, and even for vehicles who were just in traffic when the fire incident started. And so we're hoping that residents may have learned their lessons from Saturday's exercise, and going forward, we will not have people getting closer to vehicles when they do find themselves in that situation.
I want you to hold on for us as we hear the fire officer, and I'll come back to you to conclude our conversation.
So on the spot, when the incident happened, 3 people, 10 were transported to the Kofodia Regional Hospital, and during the course of that, 3 others also gave up their lives. And so a total of 6 lives were lost. In all, 15 people were affected. 2 were treated and discharged, and the rest came to the regional hospital. As at this morning, 7 are still on admission receiving medical care. When a tanker falls, that is not the time to cash in, because in the first place, what you are doing is illegal. It is stealing, and so it's against the rules and laws of this country. So when a tanker falls, it's not the time for anybody to go around. There could be explosion, there could be fire, as occurred on Saturday. Even this one, we were fortunate because of the time that the incident happened. If it were to be daybreak, we would have had a lot of people going to siphon, and that would have spelled a lot of serious issues at hand for us.
And you had the Eastern Regional representative of the Ghana National Fire Service. Yvonne Nikwe is still on the line with us. Yvonne, what's the current situation at the scene? Any announcements by authorities to prevent a recurrence beyond what we just heard the fire officer tell us?
Well, Beatrice, the investigations are yet to conclude, but what the fire service and the police, who are allied agencies, are doing is that they're doing a lot of monitoring on the stretch since the incident happened on Saturday up to this morning. Of course, part of the road was cordoned off, and we're still safe at that. But seriously, they are just ensuring that no vehicle gets into that situation again, as they make sustainable measures to probably see if we'll have MTTD officials on the road in the interim. As we speak, we still have 7 victims at the Koforidua Central Hospital that the authorities are caring for, hoping that they survive the burns that they had through the accident.
Thank you very much, Yvonne Nikwe. Keep an eye on it and bring us the latest. Yvonne Nikwe is our Eastern Regional Correspondent. Now, the government of Ghana, through the Cybersecurity Authority, is compiling a full docket to prosecute a Russian national accused of secretly recording and circulating intimate videos involving Ghanaian women without their consent. The footage, which surfaced on social media, has triggered public outrage and renewed calls for swift and decisive action against online sexual exploitation. Speaking to journalists over the weekend, the Minister for Communication, Digital Technology and Innovations, Samuel Nate George, disclosed that he has formally engaged a Russian diplomatic mission over the matter.
Now, you don't just record it, but you go and post it on a website for financial gain. That gentleman will be looked for. We will activate every resource in our disposal, working with Interpol. The way we've worked with Interpol to extradite Ghanaians to other jurisdictions, we will request the Russian authorities, and that's why I've invited a Russian ambassador, to work with our law enforcement. We want the gentleman to come to Ghana, to be brought back to Ghana, extradited to Ghana, for him to face the rigors of our law. Ghanaian citizens, irrespective of their decision making, will be protected by their government.
And you heard that Sam Nate George, he's the Minister for Communications. Let's, before that, even as Ghana signals its intention to prosecute, a significant legal question looms as to whether the Russian suspect can be extradited to Ghana to face prosecution here. Under Russian law, Article 61 of the Russian Constitution explicitly prohibits the extradition of Russian citizens to foreign states. The provision applies even in cases of dual citizenship. In practice, this means that if the accused has returned to Russia, Ghana may face substantial legal barriers in securing his extradition. However, legal experts note that while Russia does not extradite its nationals, it retains the option to prosecute its citizens domestically for crimes committed abroad if provided with sufficient evidence by the requesting country. Let's speak to Christian Mamhesi. He's a lawyer. Good afternoon to you, sir. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good afternoon, and thanks for having me.
I just read the constitutional provision in Russia's law banning extraditing its citizens. Does Ghana realistically stand a chance when it comes to securing extradition in this case?
Indeed, when you do not have a bilateral relationship which covers extradition, or a treaty, or any form of legal arrangement, you are stopped. There is no legal conjecture that you could initiate to resemble any form of extradition. So it is quite curious why a minister of state would give such or make such a claim to the public when indeed Ghana does not have such bilateral treaty with the federal state of Russia.
And so that is a no-no on that front.
I mean, it is not going to happen. And if you look at our treaties, Ghana, we have treaty with even for the U.S. It is because of the 1931 UK-US extradition treaty, and the Supreme Court has pronounced that it also affects Ghana. Aside that, we have bilateral treaties with Nigeria, Togo, and Benin, which was signed in 1984. And then we have the ECOWAS Convention on Extradition, which covers that territorial region. Beyond that, Russia falls in those states such as Israel and those other countries that hitherto will not allow, such as China, Japan, that will not allow for extradition, even France. So where you do not have such extradition treaty, there's no way you are going to have that particular country to ensure that that proceeding happens. It is because to have an extradition treaty, you must have a common criminal offense, which will be stated in the extradition treaty. So if it is, let's say, murder, we must have an extraditable offense of murder as contained in the extradition treaty with the part of the requesting state, which is Ghana, and then that of the withholding country, which is Russia. If we do not have that understanding of a treaty executed, then how is that going to come up? So it is quite curious why the Honorable Minister would have that. It is an opportunity for the country to have an extensive policy which would cascade into a treaty with many other nations of the world, so that where Ghana, where a citizen or citizens of Ghana suffer such rights diminution in criminal nature, then the state can have recourse to such. But I mean, it stands to international law that if you do not have an international treaty with a particular country, then there's no way that you can seek that country brings the citizen to your country for prosecution. And it's even this diplomatic channel for the Minister of Communication to say that he is engaging the meeting. Indeed, the Minister of Communication ought to go through the Foreign Affairs Ministry. And in that meeting, that is where he would put his grievances to the Russian ambassador, but not in the manner that he is doing. Extradition is not a bravado arrangement. It is one of international law, and it follows procedures where the other party you are seeking to extradite can even challenge it in court. And if you don't have such treaty, how are you going to initiate the processes, let alone to enforce it?
Indeed. So I hear you say two things. It's not possible for Ghana to use this route, and you've also given us an idea in terms of future occurrence, what we need to do in order to, as it were, let the culprits face justice. But in the meantime, are you able to tell us which other legal avenue the government of Ghana could explore in ensuring that this person is brought to justice?
Indeed, the options are very, very limited. I mean, the worst it can do is to put a red alert on him that yes, he committed this offense in Ghana, and should he enter the borders or the territorial borders of Ghana, then upon that he'll be arrested, and that notice alone would keep him away from Ghana. Now, indeed, if you want to even put him on Interpol red alert, that would mean that you are engaging other states that have extradition processes with them. In that situation, you may force your way to say that should he say be in the US, you would want him for that. But mind you, Russia is going to fight to get its citizens back, and that will leave Ghana with little to do than much. So it is one for us to have a broader conversation, or like I said, a broader policy that will cascade into engaging the nation of the world than the limited ones we have. So to have these bilateral treaties very established so that we can benefit from such international arrangements than the limited one that we have.
Indeed.
To get some few states.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mamhesi, for speaking to us. And you had the Christian Mamhesi. He's a lawyer sharing his thoughts on whether or not Ghana can prosecute the Russian citizen accused of filming Ghanaian women and compromising the positions. Well, the National Communications Authority, NCA, has announced sweeping reforms to the country's telecom sector, insisting on quality for the Ghanaian consumer. In a statement taking immediate effect, NCA directed all telecom operators to keep call drop rates below 1% to ensure at least 95% call connection success and deliver coverage 3G download speeds above 1 megabyte per second. The directives tighten long-standing quality of service key performance indicators for mobile network operators, replacing standards that have been in place since 2004. Beyond performance metrics, the NCA has also introduced expanded coverage obligations. Mobile operators are now mandatorily required to extend network coverage to all constituent towns within every MMDA. In the light of these directives, some Ghanaians have been sharing their thoughts on mobile network coverage and quality. Take a listen.
The network providers in Ghana, on a scale of 1 to 10, I would score them 6 because it's very bad. It's very bad, especially when you have adverse weather, and then sometimes there are no for communications to the users of these networks, and then you have interruptions in networks. Other times when you want to get e-cash for transactions, you are not able to do it, and then there are no upfront communication to us on how all this how do you call it, distortions in their services are being experienced by the end users. So for me, I think it's a very bad situation that needs to be improved.
Most of the time I have all the networks, yes, so depending on the area that I go, then I know that this is what I have to use. So I have to switch. If I'm using, like, if I go to the area, I have to switch to a different network because I know this area, this network doesn't work well, this one works better, and it's really affecting. They have to do something about it, and it's very important because even if you go and you don't have airtime but you have data and something happens to you, you can use your data to call. But without network at all, it's very dangerous for us.
I think there is more room for improvement, and what they can do more is to actually mount more network poles to meet the number of subscribers they have on their network. And I think that would be the best they can do. What government can do now is to up their regulatory game, because what I can see now is because the network users are getting more and more. What the government can do now is to increase their regulatory policies and requirements.
The network in Ghana here, like you say, is very poor. Simply because if you want to get in touch with somebody, then you call. They will tell you the phone is off or out of service area. But the phone is not off. Moreover, if you want to go and cash or do Momo, they will tell you the network is not good. In fact, it's very, very heartening. It's very, very disturbing. So government should come in and see the people in charge of network to do something about it.
Some of you expressing your views with us concerning the new systems put in place, or directives, as it were, given to telecom providers by the National Communications Authority. Now, a pressure group, the Catchment Area Community Alliance, is calling for the immediate revocation of the mining lease of Health Goldfield, the operator of the Bogoso Prestia mines. The group is also demanding urgent intervention from the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources and all relevant relevant institutions, arguing that Health Goldfields lacks the financial capacity to operate the Bogoso Prestia underground mine and has now resorted to surface mining, which poses serious safety and environmental risks to neighboring communities. There is more in this report filed by Irama Smith.
At a news conference over the weekend, the Catchment Area Community Alliance, CACA, reiterated that it is not opposed to responsible mining or responsible investors, whether local or foreign. What it firmly opposes are empty promises, misrepresentations, and the entrusting of a strategic national asset to financially incapable entities. Speaking on behalf of the group, Bulletin stated that the mining lease was granted based on assurances that Heath Goldfields Limited possessed strong financial backing, immediate access to over $500 million in capital, and the technical capacity to restart and sustainably operate the mine, particularly the Prestia underground operations. He also expressed deep concern over Heath Goldfields Limited's intention to conduct blasting operations in areas where the open pit is in close proximity to established townships like Bondi and Nakaba.
Under the Ghana Minerals and Mining Exclusive Regulations, a minimum exclusion distance of 500 meters is required between blasting operations and occupied buildings. We call on all people to resist any unsafe blasting activity which exposes residents to unacceptable risks, including fly rock, ground vibration, air blast, and structural damage. We encourage Heath Goldfields to concentrate their energies into operationalizing the Prestia underground mine.
To verify the group's claim, the news team visited the alleged newly opened mining pit as mentioned earlier. On our way, we saw a signpost with blasting notification. Though this is the only route linking Prestia, Bondi, and its surrounding communities with no alternative. Just behind the road lies the newly opened pit by Heath Goldfields, and directly behind it are mechanic shops and stores, also close to the mine's central shafts meant for emergency exit. According to the residents, they legally acquired the land from the chiefs. However, the occupants claim that Heath Goldfields has not engaged them on any proper arrangement with regards to the blasting. They said the company only informed them that they will evacuate them anytime they are about to blast and bring them back afterwards. The residents are not happy with this arrangement.
As you can see, I have goods in my shop. If they are damaged during the blasting, who will bear the cost? They are planned to evacuate us during the blasting and then have us return afterward. It's not acceptable.
We are appealing to the government to help us get compensation so we can leave.
I'm asking if there is an emergency on the other side of the community during the blasting, shouldn't they stop and wait?
Meanwhile, the company is yet to comment or issue any statement on the issue.
Irama Smith filed that report from the Western region. Now, the Coalition of Unpaid Teachers for the 2023 cohort in the Northern region has today embarked on a demonstration to demand urgent intervention over delays in the issuance of their staff IDs and the payment of their salaries after several attempts to get the matter resolved proved futile. About 250 out of the estimated 400 affected teachers nationwide are from the Northern region. The group says despite rendering dedicated service drivers for more than 25 months, they have not received any salary, a situation they say is severely affecting their livelihoods. The teachers are demanding the immediate issuance of their staff IDs and the full payment of all outstanding salary arrears owed them since they assumed duty in 2023. My colleague Christopher Mwako is following this. He joins us live on the line. Chris, aside from the payment of arrears and issuance of staff ID, what other demands would you say the group is making?
So according to these teachers, they are saying that they are the Education Directorate in the Northern Region is denting their image, that their appointment letters are not valid. And so they also want that corrected because they were issued with appointment letters and they have served for 25 months and they were actually posted by the region. And so they don't understand why the region will say that the appointment letters are not valid. About 1,500 of them were earlier engaged, and some of them have actually been issued their staff IDs and others and also paid, and so they don't understand why they have been left out. So they are demanding that the Education Ministry should do the right thing so that their arrears, 25 months arrears, as well as their staff IDs will be generated for them. Let's take a listen to what they've been saying.
With reference number GES/DG/247/25/ED056 dated 5th March did not apply to us. Consequently, a precedent set by the GES headquarters through a letter dated 12 December 2025 with reference number GES/HQ/PR/25/115 for onboarding of the 2024 year group where they were issued new appointment letters to facilitate a smoother onboarding process could be adopted. We are willing to accept similar new appointment letters if it resolves the technical challenges preventing our staff ID generation. Our primary goal is the immediate generation of staff IDs and the payment of all outstanding arrears. It is deeply demoralizing that we, who assumed duty in 2023, remain unpaid while college teachers posted in 2024 and even recruits hired after the 7th December 2024 period have been fully processed and paid. Yes. In other regions, most of our 2023 colleagues have already received their salaries, leaving the Northern Region cohort uniquely disadvantaged. Recently, a few selected members of our group were given staff IDs and paid, yet the vast majority remain ignored without explanation. Yes. This selective treatment raises the question, if democracy is truly a government for the people, why are about 250 citizens in this region being treated with such neglect?
And you heard there some unpaid teachers. Christopher Mwako is still on the line with us. Chris, has there been any word from the authorities up there?
Yes, so far the Education Directorate has not said anything about this, but the Regional Coordinating Council, where these aggrieved teachers submitted their petition, have responded by assuring them that the petition will be sent to the appropriate quarters for their grievances to be addressed. And so that is what we know for now, because the Directorate has not in response to the earlier engagements indicate that some of them, according to the Education Directorate, their appointment letters are not valid, and so that is why they are not being able to attend to them.
But do we know what is the next line of action for these unpaid teachers beyond the word from the authorities?
Yeah, so they are saying that if they don't hear anything from the Regional Coordinating Council in 2 weeks, they will follow up with their counterparts in other parts of the country at the Ministry of Education to picket. They're also saying that the Minister of Education comes from the Tamale community, and so they are also preparing to go meet him to follow up on this matter for them.
Thank you very much, Christopher Mwako. He is our correspondent within the Savannah and Northern regions. And that's it for the Midday News on Sri FM 92.7. My name is Beatrice Adu. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. Log on to srinews.com for more news.
FM 92.7. Coming up this afternoon, the National Petroleum Authority raises fuel price floors. The 2nd February window starting today. We'll tell you what this means at the local pumps. Meanwhile, the Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies projects fuel prices to rise between 1.9% and 3.3% effective today. And much later, the Association of Ghana Industry says the country's industrial sector stands ready to help the process at least half of the national cocoa output. I am Enyuna Paliga, bringing you details of these and other stories. Please stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. Now to our first story. The National Petroleum Authority has officially increased the minimum price levels of price floors for petroleum products for the 2nd pricing window of February effective today. The directorate remains in force until February 28, 2026, mandates that no oil marketing company or LPG marketing company may sell their products below the newly established threshold. This regulatory move has compelled several retailers to adjust their PIM price upward this morning to maintain compliance. There's more in the following 3 Business News Desk report.
Under the directive, no oil marketing company (OMC) is permitted to sell petrol below 10 cedis 24 pesos per litre. This is up from 9 cedis 99 pesos recorded during the first pricing window of the month. The price floor of diesel has also seen an increase, moving from 10 cedis 95 pesos to 11 cedis 34 pesos per litre for the same period. The price floor for liquefied petroleum gas (LPG) has been raised to 9 cedis 43 pesos per kilogram. The NPA's directive means that any OMC or LPG marketing company selling below newly approved thresholds must immediately adjust prices to comply. The move could force several companies to increase palm prices, including those that had planned to maintain previous rates amid market competition. Meanwhile, the Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies has reminded its members to strictly adhere to the established price floors under the Petroleum Product Pricing Guidelines. The Chamber clarified that the approved price floors do not include premiums charged by international oil trading companies, operating margins of bulk import, distribution and export companies, as well as marketers and dealers' margins. It says those costs will be determined independently by the respective companies. According to the Chamber, compliance is critical to maintaining market stability, protecting consumers, and ensuring fairness across the downstream petroleum sector.
Meanwhile, the Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies has projected slight increase in prices at the pumps effective today. This marks the second upward adjustment in the petroleum prices this year, driven by a combination of weakening local currency and a surge in global oil benchmarks. According to the latest outlook report from the Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies, prices across all major products are expected to climb between 1.9% and 3.3%. Petrol is expected to increase by up to 1.97%, pushing the pump prices to 11 cedis 97 pesos per litre. Diesel could go up by 2.73% to around 13 cedis 9 pesos per litre, while LPG may rise by 3.26%, which is approximately 13 cedis 93 pesos per kilogram. Let's take a listen to the Chief Executive of the Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies, Dr. Riverson Obong.
We've seen a surge in oil prices in the mid-February, moving from $67.4 to $70.90 per barrel. Indeed, oil gain tensions in the Middle East outweighed concerns that were in the supply glut building in the market that was realized in the previous window. In line with the rise in crude oil prices, international products price also hiked. Petrol increased by 4.17%, diesel by 5.57%, and LPG by 6.81%. And indeed, the other important factor to determine the pump price, which is the cedi performance, cedi depreciated marginally against the major trading currencies, and i.e. the dollar per se, from 10.90 to 10.98, which is about 0.77% drop. However, there is oversupply of products, both diesel and petrol, in Ghana's market. We are envisaging that most already bought products that are still in tank could be at a previous marginally reduced price. So the increase might not be significant or not felt at all.
And that was the Chief Executive Officer of the Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies, Dr. Riverson Obong. Now, away from that, the Association of Ghana Industries has declared that its members are strategically positioned and ready to process at least 50% of the country's total cocoa bean output. This was made known by the president of the association, Pharmacist Kofi Nsiapoku, during the AGI's National Council retreat held in Accra, which also featured a high-level engagement with the Minister for Trade, Agribusiness and Industry.
The Association of Ghana Industries, AGI, as its National Council retreat, brought to the fore the urgent need for policymakers and government to chart a path that strengthens local production and long-term growth to sustain economic gains. The association resolved that government should accelerate its export diversification agenda and develop local buffers by strengthening domestic supply chains to keep the economy on track and address unfair trade practices, including smuggling. The president of the AGI, Pharmacist Kofi Nsiapoku, noted that the association is capable of adding value to much more of the country's cocoa beans.
I have already initiated discussions with the Minister for Trade and Industry on how we can really help in processing cocoa beans into various activities. And I even have discussed with her that they said they want to set up small processes in areas where the cocoa is produced. And we are ready to do that, where we can convert the cocoa bean into cocoa powder and the butterfat. We can convert the cocoa into various production. We don't need to export any processed cocoa bean in a semi-finished form.
He suggested government leverages existing local factories, including those under the One District, One Factory of the previous administration.
Already, the previous government started 1D, 1F. Some of the factories are ready. Some are almost near completion. We need to finish them and start using them. If we want to start building factories, we need not less than 2 years for the factories to be ready. So first, we must make use of the existing factories to build their capacity to be able to do the work. And most of them are ready. Most of them can start doing second shifts. Once the market is there, we are ready to take off immediately.
The National Council of the AGI reaffirmed its commitment to continued collaboration between the private sector and government.
That was a report on the Association of Ghana Industries saying the country's industrial sector stands ready to help process at least half of the nation's cocoa output. And that brings us to the end of Business Daily on 3FM 92.7. For more business news, please check our website at 3news.com. I am Enyonam Malika. Stay tuned.